Last year at the University of Georgia, there were more concussions per cheerleader than there were per football player. 9 out of 125 players suffered a concussion, while 8 out of 52 cheerleaders had one.
Stick and stand.
The University of Georgia considers cheerleaders athletes, even though the NCAA doesn't recognize cheer as a college sport.
I wouldn't want to cheer anywhere else. I mean, this is the greatest school ever.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We give them all we got.
1, 2.
It's our second priority to school.
Perfect.
Cheerleader Hannah Leach of Alpharetta grew up doing gymnastics and later turned to cheer.
And I've found that the dedication and commitment kind of makes me more successful.
Round off back handspring fulls come naturally to Hannah. UGA raised the bar.
The stunts are more than I ever imagined myself doing when I was in high school.
1, 2.
A lot higher standards.
So we will do standing today.
Head UGA cheer coach Ben O'Brien admits the skill level required becomes more advanced each year, and even more so by the time cheerleaders get to college.
Because it's very demanding. When you're in college, you can flip in the air and you can twist and pyramids. You're 2.5 people high.
The stunts are complicated.
1, 2.
Even so, a concussion never crossed Hannah's mind.
Honestly, whenever I heard about cheerleaders getting concussions, I was just like, oh, it's just, they're being too cautious.
Last year, her view changed.
Threw up a girl, she did 1 flip, 2 twists. It was actually one of her first tries, so she was a little nervous. And I think she just kind of did something weird and came down a little bit crooked. So I was supposed to catch her sideways, but her feet actually came this way and kind of hit me in the face.
Hannah was knocked down and dizzy, but continued to practice. It wasn't until the next day she realized something was wrong.
That morning I started slurring my words a little bit. I started getting heat flashes. I was a little nauseous.
Hannah was one of 8 cheerleaders at UGA who suffered a concussion last year.
Last year we had a pretty big learning curve in terms of we had a lot of new kids come in last year. It's an elbow to the head, or if you're catching somebody and your head's butting.
Dr. Ken Moutner with Emory Sports Medicine Center says girls are more prone to concussion than boys. Couple that with the need to constantly try new stunts, and the risk for concussion increases.
Any sport where you are twirling your body rapidly is a potential for brain injury. If the spotting's not done correctly, or if they land awkwardly, just with a high velocity of impact with no protection on the brain at all, no helmet or anything like that, it lends itself to having concussions.
O'Brien feels UGA takes the proper precautions and takes concussion education and treatment seriously.
We know when they've had enough in terms of pushing them and kind of stepping back and saying, okay, let's take a deep breath here, and because we don't want to push them too much to where obviously they could injure themselves.
Hannah was required to fill out a symptoms sheet daily and couldn't return to cheer until her symptom list was at 0.
I mean, I know what I signed up for. I know it's a risk, and if I get one, then it's all part of it. I'm healed from it, and I just got to make sure I'm careful.
Moutner says the blows in cheerleading sometimes aren't as obvious as the hits in football. That's why it's important for cheerleaders to report when they feel out of sorts. In certain people, Moutner believes 3 or 4 concussions over 6 to 8 years could cause long-term damage and could end a career. Jennifer Merrily, CBS Atlanta News.